Working Committee to a closed-door meeting with Governor Fubara in Port Harcourt last night. He said the visit of the NWC is to appreciate Governor Fubara for stabilizing the party in the state after the court ruling that nullified the congresses. The PDP NWC National Treasurer also spoke on their position over the authentic National Secretary of the party. Well, moving on, some stakeholders have been speaking on steps to take before the resumption of oil production in Ogoniland. It followed a closed-door meeting in Abuja with Ogoni leaders on Tuesday, where President Bola Tinubu ordered the National Security Advisor to liaise with the critical stakeholders and ensure the resumption of oil production in Ogoniland. Speaking with correspondent Yobi Oluware, an environmental rights activist Chima Williams said all parties involved in the talks must be transparent and open to the people.
Yes, before resumption of oil operations in Ogoniland, there is the critical need for a comprehensive discourse with the people of Ogoniland to agree on entry points and expectations from both sides. It is what should be done by the federal government, one, what should be done by those that want to resume the oil operation, the corporations or the companies that want to restart oil operation in Ogoniland, and then expectations on what the Ogonis themselves are expected to do.
Mr. Williams also advised that any company taking up the production of oil in Ogoniland must enter into what he called environmental bonds.
On the part of the oil companies, whoever is going to invest in Ogoniland, we have always said it, and we continue to say it, that for any investing oil company must put out what we call an environmental bond, which will be resources provided in advance to be used to settle or take care of any mishap that may arise as a result of operational activity. Such company must have been negligent in protecting their facilities.
On his part, the convener of Ogoni Development Drive, Solomon Leno, charged Ogoni people to take good advantage of the move by the Tinubu administration.
Whatever crisis that there may have been, at least I feel as a person that it is time that we come back to the negotiation table, because the Ogonis still remains the people who are losing the most because of lack of economic activities in Ogoniland. As we speak today, there are no pipelines in Ogoni soil. During the crisis, all pipelines were evacuated. So even if the Ogonis agree today to say, okay, let us start oil production, it's still going to take an upward of 3 years or more before the actual activity of exploring oil will take place.
Mr. Leno spoke further on his concerns and fears.
Majority of the people who are complaining today are people who wanted to be on that delegation to the presidency but were not called up. The only concern, which I think would have been very, very congenial to make, is that the negotiations should not be left in the hands of the politicians, because politicians have a way of thinking about themselves, and just a little political offer now, they will forget about the generality of the people. They will forget about the main thing that they would have demanded for the generality of the people. So the negotiations should not be left in the hands of the politicians alone. That should be a genuine concern.
Away from that, as council chairman in Rivers State mark their first 100 days in office, a professor of development communication and media studies, Walter Ihejirika, wants government to focus more on production. He spoke with correspondent Yobi Oluware.
In 2025, we are hoping that, looking forward that the government will do more to address the issue of hunger, and which, as we know, is one of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 2, zero hunger. We look forward that government has to encourage that through mobilizing people for more agriculture, giving incentives for people to go back to the land. There should be more effort to mechanize agriculture and encourage more people to be, more investors to go into the area of agriculture to improve in the area of food production. So we do more of production. Let's engage in more of production.
However, a political sociologist Professor Steve Ward says some claims by local government chairmen about their achievement within their first 100 days in office are unverifiable. He stressed the need for some of the claims to be evaluated and monitored.
As a people, we don't even apply monitoring and evaluation in the claim made by government officials. If we are doing proper monitoring and evaluation, people should be able to see those projects. Citizens within the local government should be able to see and attest to the fact that such projects have been implemented. These are bogus claims. Local government administration in Rivers State has been bogus claims because nobody is actually supervising them. Evidence that the government is being supervised.
In another development, political party leaders in Rivers State have expressed differing views on the role of opposition parties in preventing the current administration from dominating the political space. Spokesperson of the Labour Party, Gogo Wellington, told our correspondent that opposition parties made significant contributions in 2024 to protect democracy from what he described as selfish politicians.
In the year 2024, where there was some sort of synergy between the government of the day and the opposition parties, because to us, a greater battle was being fought. The resources of the people of Rivers State were almost privatized by a certain group of persons. So the opposition rose to their responsibility to actually fight against these undemocratic and anti-people forces, which brought about the seeming normalcy that we have in Rivers State today. We know that they are also not giving up, and we also in the opposition are also not withdrawing our forces.
Mr. Wellington assured that this year, opposition parties would intensify efforts to demand more dividends of democracy from the government. Similarly, the chairman of the Social Democratic Party, Soswema Osaro, said opposition parties have played a major role in strengthening democracy in the state.
We stand the gap to advise. We stand the gap to deepen democracy. So the opposition have played a vital role in the stabilization of governance because we are the watchdog. Good thing the government of the day have told everyone openly, criticize me. But in terms of our criticism, we will not hit below the belt of truth. We'll criticize constructively to contribute towards policy formulation and implementation to ensure that the government does the needful. The government knows that if things are not done in the rightful direction, the oppositions will always arise to speak out. But we will not run down government when government is not doing what is wrong.
But the spokesperson of the Emeka Bekele-led APC, Darlington Woodry, disagrees with this.
Between 2014 and today, has political parties, have they evolved? My answer is no, because I do not see any novel thing, a strong difference that happened in 2014 in terms of opposition politics. It has been the same method, it has been the same style. Opposition ordinarily should be a contestation of ideas. But what you see happen in Rivers State is the politics of hate. People only canvass opinions and positions when it seems not to be favoring them.
Now elsewhere, a federal high court in Port Harcourt has adjourned to 17th February for the adoption of court processes in a suit challenging the legitimacy of Martin Amaewhule and 26 others as Speaker and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Factional Speaker Victor Okojumbo Sokari Goodboy and another lawmaker filed the suit alleging that Mr. Amaewhule and the others defected from the PDP to the APC. During Wednesday's proceedings, the processes filed by the lawyer representing Martin Amaewhule and 14 others, Ferdinand Obi, were reportedly missing from the court's case file. The lawyer requested an adjournment to trace the documents, a move that was unopposed by other parties. Correspondent Emekotoka reports that the presiding judge, Justice Emmanuel Obile, granted the request and adjourned the case till the 17th of February for the adoption of all filed processes. Still to come, TUC NLC rally against telecom tariff hike. Stay with us.
Congratulations,
the Simplified Women of Ahuda West Local
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has pleaded with political parties to start fielding fresh candidates for by-elections into state and federal legislative positions. The chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, who spoke during the year's first quarterly meeting with political parties, said the commission conducted 9 by-elections early last year and 14 vacancies have occurred since then.
Regular consultative meeting held on the 17th of October last year, the Commission released the timetable and schedule of activities for the Anambra State governorship election holding on Saturday, the 8th of November 2025. May I remind leaders of political parties that primaries for the nomination of candidates for the Anambra State governorship election begins in the next 2 months.
In another development, the Rivers State Commissioner for Transport, Collins Onuwo, has condemned the return of fraudulent individuals posing as members of road decongestion task forces and other road-related committees. In a statement by his press secretary, Promise Chimenem Amadi, Prince Onuwo reiterated that the ban on road decongestion task forces remain in place. He said that the Ministry of Transport will inform the public through official channels once legitimate road task force committees are reconstituted. The commissioner also urged security agencies to arrest and prosecute anyone caught parading as members of a road task force. And now, an international relations expert, Michael Blest, has described Donald Trump's presidency as both a blessing and a curse for Nigeria. Dr. Blest, an associate professor in the Department of History and Diplomatic Studies at Ineshu Ajuri University of Education in Port Harcourt, said this in an interview with our correspondent. He warned that President Trump's border restriction policies might lead to higher unemployment and poverty levels in Nigeria, as many Nigerian returnees from the U.S. could worsen social challenges.
Challenges in the U.S. may reduce, and then that will have a counter effect on Nigeria because the returnees, most of them have encountered serious security issues. Most of them that are coming may be unemployed. Most of them that are coming back may be frustrated and also have psychological effects. They may likely go into drugs or into other criminal activities that may jeopardize the security situation in Nigeria. Those returnees may also increase the poverty level in Nigeria.
And now in business, the national president of the Association of Telecommunications Subscribers, Deolu Ogunbajo, says they were not informed before the 50% tariff hike by telecoms companies. Speaking on Nigerian Info FM's Morning Crossfire, Mr. Ogunbajo clarified that during a meeting with telecommunication companies in Abuja, no agreement was reached regarding the tariff increase.
On January 9th, to be exact, all stakeholders were called to Abuja, and thank God that we were there. We were told to state our various cases, all stakeholders. So everybody stated their case, and there was no decision reached at that meeting. We all stated our cases that, look, we will not agree to any increase beyond 10%. And then others also stated their case. Thereafter, on Monday, we now have the bombshell. And they said that there is need for an increase as well. Nobody mentioned any percentage at the meeting, except us that said, NCC never said anything about the percentage.
Meanwhile, the Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress TUC, Nuhu Toro, says they will not accept the 50% increase until there is an improvement in the quality of telecom services. Mr. Toro spoke on Wednesday while addressing the call by the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, for a nationwide strike to protest the tariff hike.
What have they done? What have they put on the table? What can we celebrate to amount for a rise in tariff? I don't think this is ill time, and I don't think this is the right time for any tariff in Nigeria. They should provide service, quality service. If quality service is provided and there's any rise, people wouldn't complain. But you cannot surcharge people for services that is not guaranteed or services that quality is deficient. So until that is achieved, we strongly believe something needs to be done.
Mr. Toro said the TUC would convene to take a decision that mirrors the collective support of the people. Earlier, the NLC called on Nigerians to prepare for a nationwide boycott of telecommunications services in response to the NCC's approval of a 50% increase in telecommunication tariffs. And now in entertainment, embattled music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is suing a man claiming to have videos of him engaging in sexual activities. On Wednesday, the 55-year-old rapper filed a $50 million defamation lawsuit in New York targeting Courtney Burgess. His lawyer, Ariel Mitchell, and Nexter Media, saying he was defamed by a man who allegedly testified in front of a grand jury for Combs' federal criminal case. And now in sport, former Crystal Palace Wilfried Zaha has completed a loan move from Turkish giant Galatasaray to join Charlotte FC on loan until January 2026.
And now we bring you news from around the world.
U.S. President Donald Trump may send up to 10,000 troops to the U.S.-Mexico border as part of his immigration crackdown. This was contained in an internal memo. The U.S. president has already ordered 1,500 troops to the border to install barriers, although a military source say they won't be involved in law enforcement.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Now that's a wrap on the news this afternoon. Before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. The PDP NWC has recognized Governor Fubara as the party leader in Rivers. Stakeholders have been speaking on plans by the Tinubu administration to resume oil production in Ogoniland. A court has adjourned Rivers Assembly leadership suit. Rivers State government has reiterated ban on road task forces. On the foreign scene, U.S. President Trump may send 10,000 troops to U.S.-Mexico border. The news was edited by Constance Iriele-Mega. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I'm Ifechukwu Moyali. Many thanks for listening.
To thrive in a fast-changing